Oh, hello there. Welcome back to the art room. I'm really glad you could make it today. Today's episode is all about birds. First we'll learn how to draw some birds, then we'll start to paint them with different techniques. Then at the end you can display your bird as a stick puppet, or you can hang it and use it as a three-dimensional piece and hang it from the ceiling. So stick around. I think you're going to like this episode. Started off with a piece of poster board that I bought at the Hobby Lobby. I'll just show you the label that it came from. It happens to be 22 by 28 inches poster board. So I got a piece of that, and I've got it folded in half the wide direction. That means that right now I've got a 14-inch spread right here across the long way there. So I've decided that, and if you're in the art room with people, you can split one of these in half. If you just take a ruler and draw a line right down the middle, that would be at 11 inches right here, and split your paper into two. And I just did mine over again so you can see it. So we'll start off that way with a more manageable piece of paper, and I'm just going to cut my poster board in half. Give it to Frankie or somebody like that that's next door to me. Yeah, Frankie always works along with me too. He's a good artist. So let's set that aside. This means that this is going to be the size of my bird. He's going to have a great wingspan here, 28-inch wingspan. We can use every bit of that. But the neat thing about drawing birds is that they're symmetrical. So you can really take advantage of that symmetry when you draw them. So when I draw my bird, I don't have to worry about him being the same on both sides if I leave my paper folded like this. So let's get started, and we'll draw a bird. So we'll come to the top of our paper, this being the folded side right here. And since this is going to be the top, we'll come down and we'll make a beak in pencil there. It doesn't have to be too long a beak, like that. And then I'm going to come around and make a head, just sketching that out. Okay, make a head. So remember, all these thicknesses will be double when we open it up, or his head will be double that size. So that'll work out for us. So it's kind of fascinating to really think that a bird's wings are kind of like arms of a human, really, if you look at the shoulder moving up to the elbow of a bird and then out to their fingertips. So if you think of it that way, maybe it'll be a little bit easier for you to draw it. I'm going to come right off this neckline. Okay, and I'm going to sketch up here, an upward sketch. Right about there, practically hitting the top. You don't have to. And then after I get to this elbow part, then I'm going to slope on over to the bird's wingtip, like that. Great. Okay. So down here then, I'm going to be just joining the bird's wing with kind of a uphill line here. I'm just going to come across like this and draw the bottom of the bird's wing. Nice wing shape. Stop when you get right about here. Oh, that's excellent. All right. So we'll leave some room for the rest of the body, about the same thickness here, but we can correct that when we cut. Okay, so that's going to be like the bottom part of the bird's body, and then from here I'll just flare out what I've got left into a tail. And once again, we'll be changing that too, so don't worry too much about what you've got right here. Okay, you with me so far? I know you are. Okay, great. So if we can imagine this bird wing coming up into a bird shape, this is kind of like where his, if the bird had an armpit, it would be there. So I'm going to draw right up in here a line and then bring this up into sort of what appears to be the arm of a bird, like this. And the reason I'm doing that is the feathers are a little bit different up here, the little feathers that you have. That I'm kind of looking at right now on my sheet. So these are all tiny feathers, and we'll paint them to be that way. And little tiny feathers. And then right about here, we'll come up with another row of what's going to be feathers. And just swing that up like that. Okay. And hey, if you're doing it different, good. There's so many different kinds of birds out there. I don't even know if, you know, a brother had a sister bird that they would both have the same wing pattern. That's just the thing. I mean, hey, we're an art. It's good. So what we'll try to do next is angle out some of these feathers with some lines. And going the direction of these lines, these are actually the flight feathers here. So I'm going to come back in here, and you see what I'm doing. I'm angling these feathers out. Now I'm going to point the tips of my feathers too, but for what we're doing now, I'm not going to point them yet in my drawing, because it's going to be easier for you to follow along if we just do lines like this that are changing direction. Let me grab my pencil a different way. I think I'll throw another feather in there. Yeah, that's good. And as I reach the bottom of my wing, I'm going to make these feathers change direction until by the time I hit the bottom of the feather run there and I'm up against the body, they are now parallel with the body, and they flare out really nicely there, don't you think? Alright, so now what I'll do is I'm going to round these off a little bit with my pencil. Make them kind of round here. Okay. Feathers are changing direction. That's really cool. Yeah, you know, I think I might end up throwing another feather right in there. Yeah, let's put another feather in there. And I'm using these as a guide to draw, but hey, I'll probably change my mind a little bit like I always do. Up here on top, I think we'll throw in a primary feather that's coming out. These are like the winged, the part of the wing that the bird can't fly very well if he doesn't have these primary feathers. So I'm just going to add a feathery shape there. Oh, that's really neat. And I think I'll put another one in right there. Alright. So the nice part about all this is that I get to cut now, so I know I'm going to get an identical twin on the other side of my bird wing if I come in here and cut. I probably won't follow my lines all the way. I might add a little bit more of a point as I go, but I'm just going down these. I'm trying to make the wing tips rounded as I cut. Yep. Okay. Hope I didn't throw you off with that part right there. I kind of jumped over that line for a minute, but I think you get the idea. When I get to the end of his wings, then these longer feathers are going to be more pronounced and pointier. So I'm going to cut back in a little bit oh, that's great. And right down the wing surface there, the top part of the wing. And then up into the bird's head. Okay. Oh, that's terrific. Still, get the scraps out of the way so you can see a little bit better. Still, I think I'm going to make some other changes in the bird, just because it doesn't look quite as exciting on the end as it should be, so I'm going to make a little bit more of a division there on those wings. Oh yeah, I like that. And I think I'll come in between these two pieces that I've mapped out and make those kind of separated, make it look real feathery at the end. And you may want to even do a couple of these little indentations. Great. Well, let's go ahead and open up our bird. Wow, he looks fabulous. And what I'm going to do now is try to copy that same symmetry over here onto this side. So I know that line ends up right about there. So let's see if we can't, if I turn it upside down, it might work a little better here. Yeah, let's swing this over. There. Yeah. Trying to stay kind of the same. Then up into that wing. And then up here, then repeat that. Let's see, where am I ending up? Right about there, I guess. So let's do that line in there too. It's kind of a general line. We're going to be painting over a lot of this. How does that look? Hey, great. And same thing then with my feather marks that we're going to be using here. Trying to angle those feathers gradually till they make contact with the actual body of the bird. All right, great. That's just great. Let's see, how about we'll mark an eye. He's going to look a little weird sitting here because you know, he's going to be folded back up again and he'll have an eye on each side of his head. Yeah, okay, so his feet and kind of where his legs are coming out of his body, I think I'm going to show those just with some circles here, some ovals that look like they're kind of bird feet gathered up like that. That's the way I'm going to show those. So, hey, at this point we're ready to get out and talk about what kind of paint we're going to be using, how we're going to color our bird. Going back to this guy here that we showed you at the beginning, I used acrylic paint with this one, but it wouldn't have to be acrylic for your bird. You could be using tempera paint. Here's my old trusty tempera paint set that I've been using for so long. I love it. You can see how worn out it is. I just keep going back to it. It's great. But hey, if you have them, try to go with acrylic colors. And what you can do with acrylic colors is paint on top of your previous colors without anything kind of running together color-wise. So that's the beauty of acrylic colors for a project like this. But if you don't have them, you'll be fine with just any water-based watercolors or tempera would be fine. So I'm going to go get my plate and squirt on some tempera colors, or acrylic colors rather, onto my plate, and I'll be right back. I'm going to get my colors ready. Oh, I can hardly wait. Other things that I think are going to help me. I love this part. I've got if you can see it here, I've got an orange, I've got kind of a bright yellow, I've got a medium chocolatey brown, a little bit of white, some darker brown, kind of a nice tan butterscotch color, and a black. And these are all just colors that I dreamed up. I just think they're going to look great on a natural colored bird here. So and a cup of water. Okay, and I'm ready to go. I just got into my brush container over there and I picked out a couple of brushes that I think might work for us. A couple of bristle brushes and maybe a detail brush. So I think what I'm going to do first is kind of get a little bit bigger brush here, a little bit softer brush, and I'm going to lay some background color onto my bird here. I'm just going to get a little bit of what looks like yellow here and lay a little background color on him. Oh wow, I love it already. I love it already. And the nice thing about using poster board is you're going to have less of a problem with your paper curling up on you. If it gets too wet, it will curl up though. Paper's funny that way, so I'm just going to lay down some yellow across there like that. What is it about painting? It's just so fun. It's just so relaxing. Wow, just never want to give up painting. Alright, just laying that down on our bird here. So if you have watercolor, you'll be fine too. Hey, even if you have a magic marker, the only thing about a marker is that you're going to have big areas. Well, my paper's starting to dry down already. So since he's I think I'm leaning towards more of a red-tail hawk kind of a thing. I think I'm going to get a little orange on my brush here and give him a kind of a nice orange tail here just to get things started with. Like that. I think while I've got that orange, I'm going to put a little bit of that on his beak. Just kind of get ready for that. And maybe I'll come up with the orange and bring it in here like that too. Like that. I don't know how you can really lose. It's just going to be beautiful no matter which way you go with it. Okay. Whoops. Alright, so I'm going to blend this down just a little bit. If when you want to blend your colors together, if you get your brush clean and pinch out the water, then you can do some great blending like that. Okay. Alright, hey, I'm ready to start doing some feathers, I think. So let's I'm going to get some brown on here this time. And I think I'm going to scooch that out of the way. I think I'm going to go over here to his wingtips. And I'm going to start introducing some of this kind of a neat looking brown on his wingtips. Like that. Oh, that's neat. Oh yeah, I just love that. A little more brown. Okay. A little too much water there, Mr. Shay. Alright. That's better. The more practice you get at painting, the more you'll like it. It's just like anything. I had some of my art students that were just really afraid of painting because I think really they thought that they couldn't control the paint. Okay. Love it. Okay. I think when I've got some of that brown on my brush, I'm going to come in here with some tail feathers here. Okay, cool. And I better do my other side. So let's come over here and do some of that. Wingtips. Let's see, get that out of the way here. he's already got kind of a neat, natural look. I think it's the colors that we picked, don't you? It's the colors we picked out. Oh yeah. So I can use this as kind of a shading color when I want to. That brown. How you doing out there? Hope you're doing okay. Alright. Let's get some black this time. Oh yeah. I don't use black very often, but when you do, it's just so dramatic. Some black on those wingtips too. Yep. I think I'll do a little bit of blending with that. Get my brush dry. Blend up a little. Yeah. Okay, trying to stay in the same direction as my feathers are going. But I like the texture the brush gives too. Alright, over to the other side. You getting a feel for your bird yet? I don't think there's really any way you can do it wrong. It's your bird. I think if you stay in the same direction with your feather lines, I think you'll be happy with it. Pull those feathers up there in the direction that we drew them. A little more blending here too on this side. Okay. And as long as I've got a little black on my brush, I think I'll come down here and do a little bit on the ends of end of his tail here too. Throw a little bit of black in there. So if you think you got too much, you can always get your brush clean and do a little blending. With acrylic paint, you have a few minutes before it dries into your paper to make those changes. Alright, oh, he is looking great. Okay. Well, like I do sometimes, I think I'm going to go ahead of you now and do some more painting. Okay, I'm just going to have some fun. I think I'm going to add a wash of kind of my chocolate brown here and see how this looks across. He's looking a little too yellow for my liking, so I'm going to add a little bit of a brown wash to him. Okay, just pausing for a second here while I'm kind of taking you through the process of how I'm finishing up our bird. I've let this dry for a bit. It's nice and dry. My acrylic paint's dry. I went ahead and I painted the other side. Not quite as much detail, but kind of a neat brown. And then I really like this black at the wingtips that we've got here, and a little bit of black at the tail. So now to kind of finish up the details of the bird, I'm going to go with a black marker. I'm going to accentuate some of these great shapes that we've got. I'm going to pick a couple of points on his wings so I can cup his wings just a little bit, like right about here. So I'm going to go back to my folded part of my, back to the bird while it's folded, and I'm going to take my scissors and make a slit right about, let's do it right about there somewhere. Okay. I'm going to cut in about 2 inches or so. See that slit I made? Like that. And so that means the slit is also on the other side. And that's going to let me put this terrific cup shape. Can you see that? So I can do this terrific kind of a cup shape on the end of my wingtip. If you have a stapler. If not, you'll have to use glue on that part. And so, yeah, there we go. We got that great shape. And then over here, same thing. Bend that in about the same amount if I can judge that. Get the stapler, and he's going to give me trouble. Okay. Okay. And cup that side. All right. Wow, such a difference. That just makes such a great difference having those wings shaped like that. And then I found out on my first bird that if I bend these tail sections up right here, kind of like a paper airplane a little bit, I'm going to bend that one up in the air a little bit and bend that one up in the air. So our bird is ready to take flight. I would have to say he's ready to hang up. Then, and I'll give you a few tips about how I did it. First of all, I cupped his wings a little bit more. This is about 2 days later since I've painted my bird, and he's really, really dry, so you'll find out that your poster board is a lot more stiff and a lot more substantial after it's fully dry from all your paint. So first thing I did was take my stapler and I hooked his body together a little bit to give it a little strength right there at the center of his body. And then I'm going to find some balancing points right here. You see what I'm doing? I put my fingers under here. For me, it appears that the balancing points are going to be right about there. Can you see how the bird is just kind of laying in my hand? So I'll take a look at where those are. And string, this is so hard to see, isn't it? It's black thread, and that's the kind of stuff you want to use, something that's really hard to see. I'm not going to staple it on because you won't be able to see it. Or you could use a piece of this monofilament fishing line, but for our purposes here, I've already got a piece of this cotton cord cut off, just one piece. It's about 24 inches, maybe 30 inches long, something like that. And then all I have to do, if I have one piece, then all I need to do is center it over my spot where I'm going to hang my bird, and ka-chow, right there, staple that on. Maybe I could even, I could tie a little knot there if I wanted to, but I don't think I will just yet. And then right about there, staple your other. I've been pretty lucky on most of my birds. I've been able to just get away with like 2. Hey, and I'm lucky again. There he is, hanging nicely on just 2 pieces of yarn, or string. So as you've noticed by all my corny blue screen things that I've been showing since we started the video, I've had mine hanging all over the kitchen, and I even hung this little cardinal that we made. This is about the size that I used to do in kindergarten. If you're a kindergarten teacher, what I did then, since we only had 20 minutes for art, can you believe it? I'd fold up a piece of paper like this, I'd stack about 5 of them together, and I got so good at cutting birds out that I could just cut them out freehand like this. And once I had 25 birds by cutting, like, 5 birds at a time, then I would go ahead and notch them on across the bottom part like that. I'd have all 25 of them all ready to go, and then I'd notch them right here, pass them out to the kids, and then draw that part along with them up on my easel like it was, when it was flat. Obviously I wouldn't do any of that other stuff. We just kind of make them colorful birds. Here's more of like a first or second grade bird I would have done. Okay, just make a real colorful bird like that. And then when we were finally done, then I'd put I'd come around to their seat while they were working, and I'd put this little foam core stick in there, and away we go. And then I'd kind of help them get those wings down so they were, ready to flap. And oh, they had a blast walking all over the art room, flying their birds and making nests and all kinds of things like that. Okay, that's going to wrap up our episode from today, though. But before we go, a couple of drawings I'd like to show you. Here's one by my friend Caden. Really terrific outer space scene, Caden. I love that. Oh, really nice technique. Caden sent in some Disney drawings last time, and wow, I see some improvement, Caden. And another one by his sister Addie. This is a pumpkin that Addie just painted. That's the season we're in. Really terrific. Nice work, Addie. Before we go, head on over to James's Surprising Bird Facts. James has cooked up a little video of his own for you, and I think you might find it kind of amusing. James's Surprising Bird Facts. And that's going to do it for today. But remember, no matter where you go, no matter what you do, you've got something to be proud of. You're an artist. I'll see you back here next time in Mr. Shay's Art Room.